So the journey began for me, I met Flash in Townsville. The rules are that if you go to Townsville young and single, chances are you're going to marry an army guy, so I followed the rules. So I met him in Townsville, and it was in Townsville actually that he went to Somalia, so we were still very much early dating days then, but he went to Somalia while we were there, and then from Townsville we moved to Melbourne, and it was in Melbourne that we got married and had our first son. And so we moved then back to Brisbane. It was then he went to East Timor while we lived in Brisbane, and when he got back from there we had our second son. It was towards the end of Flash's career that we discovered that he had an arrhythmia in his heart, an irregular heartbeat, and it was through a normal medical at the army that they discovered that. And it was just managed by half an aspirin warfarin. But it would end up deteriorating, and it would actually be a few years later that he would have a massive stroke, and he would be left unable to walk, talk, couldn't move his right arm, etc. And so for that next 4 years, we were a family in crisis, because the other thing that happened very quickly after he's had his stroke was that my youngest son was diagnosed with autism. So I had autism in therapy, stroke in therapy, autism trying to talk to stroke, stroke trying to talk to autism. I'm needing some therapy, and I'm trying not to lose my mind and the other son in the process. So we were a bit of a family in distress, and we really were just doing the best that we could. And my husband showed great courage during that 4 years. He did learn to walk again very quickly. He learnt to move his right arm again. And he was learning to talk again, although that was a really big challenge for us. And he was certainly different to the man I married. And it was a tough time. It was a really tough time. It was a tough time for the whole family. And I know that my oldest son, I think he wanted a new family sometimes, and boy, oh boy, so did I think. But this is our life, and we were doing the best that we could. But it would be 4 years later that my husband actually needed a heart transplant, and he was on the list, but he never got that heart transplant, and he passed away. And after that 4 years of struggle, the struggle just continued. It just now we had this massive grief with the ride as well. And my mother-in-law would say to me, ring Legacy, and I'd go, no, but Legacy's for old people. I'm not old. In my head, even though I was now a widow, it kind of didn't sit with me that you're supposed to be old when you're a widow. I'm not old. Legacy's for old. I don't know where I got that idea from or where that perception came from, but for some reason it was in my head. But also there was that thing of being stoic. I should be able to do this. There are other people that need Legacy more than me. I don't want to take up a spot that I shouldn't be in, and I can do it. And then until I realised I couldn't do it, and we weren't doing great. And my mother-in-law finally said, Julie, ring Legacy. So finally, I rang Legacy, and what a relief. Oh, it was wonderful. So they came to my home, they sat with me, immediately they immediately know your situation. They deal with families like this that are in these situations all the time. So they know where you're at immediately. And as soon as she started telling me the sort of things that they could do for us and the support they could give, and through that lens of understanding where we're at, it was just so emotional. I just couldn't stop crying. I just had this outpouring of, I guess it was everything. It was just relief at last that there may be a soft place to fall. I just felt like these arms wrapped around me and said, we've got you, it's okay, we've got you, somebody's got you back. It was, yeah. So it was supporting, just first of all, educating me on what they can do with regards to if, you needed some financial assistance, or even if you need help in the home, that there's handyman work that needs doing, or there's stuff that needs doing. And in those early days, it is about form filling out, or, going through vet affairs and all that sort of thing. They assist you there. But I guess for me, the real help came when they said about the camps for the children, that children could attend camps with them every year, and also the events that we did together as families, and then for us tall poppies, us young widows, the events that they organised for all of us to get together. I was a little bit hesitant when they said about the camps, immediately thinking, well, what about Thomas? I mean, I knew Jack would have been okay, but Thomas with his autism along for the ride, how do they handle children with special needs? How are they going to handle Thomas? Oh my gosh, what if he runs away? And will they know about this? And what about he doesn't want to eat that? And will they know that when he doesn't say this is what that means? So I went through a whole lot of anxiety with that. But do you know, Michaela, they never missed a beat. There was never once even with me expressing all of that to them and all my concerns, there was never once was there any hesitation that they've got this. Thomas will be fine. We have got him. You know, you do whatever you need to prepare him, but we'll make sure it's all right. It was, and once again, it was that big soft place to fall. It was that big wrap their arms around you, and we've got this. You know, we'll do this. This is what we do. So it was such a relief, and in the end, it was Thomas that went on the camps and not Jack, which was interesting. Well, that was a gift in itself, because obviously I encouraged Jack to go, and Jack made the choice not to go to the camps. And I was actually pleased for that too, because what that gave to us was an even bigger gift. It gave Jack and I time together. Autism takes up a lot of space in your life, and especially when you become a single parent. Autism takes up a massive amount of space, and it is very loud at times in your life. And you don't always have time to spend with the other sibling, and that was such a concern for me. And then you have such guilt around that as well, which is like another burden to carry through the grief, you know, layer it up. Yeah, layer them on. And so to suddenly have that space where Jack and I could have time together, one-on-one, without autism in the house, was truly a gift. Oh, it's fantastic, because you sit with these other women, and there is there's men too. You sit with them and you're immediately, once again, you all know where everybody's at. You know that they get you. And it's like, and I think we need more of it. It's like that kind of kitchen table therapy session that you have, and that over dinner therapy session. And everybody's at different stages of their grief. So some people have just started their journey of grief. They've just lost their partner overseas. Others of us are midway through that journey. And some have moved right on and now have new partners in their life. But the point is that means that we're a gift to each other, because, you know, the ones that are new, we give them hope to show them what it can look like 3 or 4 years on. And I get that same hope with others that have found a partner. Oh, it just might happen one day. There's some hope. So, you know, there is hope, and that we do get lighter with our grief, and then we all cry together. It goes from we're all crying, then you're laughing, and then we're crying again. But that's healthy. Yeah. That's good. You deserve the help. You deserve it, and they're here for you. You deserve it. And your husband would want you to have it. Your wife would want you to have that help and be reaching out for them. They served our country, and now let your country serve you for a little minute. You're allowed to have that little soft place to fall. You're allowed to sit down and have a little rest for a minute. You know, we don't need to keep beating ourselves up. We are allowed to ask for help. So pick up the phone and do that, and take that chance. And I guess that I'd like to say too, for all the people that might be listening that do donate to the legacy, I want to say thank you to them, because every day we wonder how we can make a difference in the world. What can we do to leave our legacy and make a difference in the world? Well, I can promise you that by donating to organisations like this, you are leaving footprints in families' lives, and you've made a difference to my life. You might know me when you pass me in the street, and that's my children's life. The ripple goes on forever. So thank you to those people too.